This land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
Because I wanna be a cowboy, baby, with a top laid back and the sunshine shining. Cowboy, baby, West Coast chillin' with the blues whining. I wanna be a cowboy, baby, riding at night 'cause I sleep all day. Cowboy, baby, I can smell a pig from a mile away.
This land's not owned by you and me. Well, I was walking down a broken highway. I saw a smog-filled and dirty skyway. Saw dying oceans, drank Flint like water. This land's not owned by you and me.
So I'm here with David Avila, and we're going to be talking about the event coming up on Thursday, the 23rd, and that's going to be at the House of Beef, downtown Oakdale. And I'm Ty Robin, and we started the
ACLG.
the ACLG, America's Constitutional Law Group.
That is us. Yes.
And you want to go ahead and talk about what you're going to be discussing?
Yes. Well, considering that we're teaching the Constitution, we've been studying the Constitution for probably now 3 decades. Unfortunately, the Constitution is not taught in schools, and that's purposeful because they are quote-unquote public schools, and the definition of public is basically the corporation of the United States, and they want to maintain power. So when you work in the public, you have no rights. But the current challenge is that we have in the valley and up and down the state, we've been pumping freely the groundwater because we have an inadequate amount of surface water. And we have surface water available, but it's not used wisely. And unfortunately, our representatives in Sacramento and in Washington actually do not have we the people at the forefront. They have themselves at the forefront, and they must maintain control, and they must keep us as their servants. So right now, the state is coming down pretty hard. They passed a law, I believe it's AB 818, I'm probably wrong on that. But at any rate, it was passed in 2018, and now they're pretty serious about addressing the overpumping of our groundwaters. And naturally, with economics, farmers typically try to get into a situation where they have crops that produce more income, because as you know, fuel costs go up, labor costs go up, taxes go up, the cost of government in general, they keep giving themselves raises and better pay, hiring more people because they are in fact for-profit corporations. So like any corporation, they want to get larger and generate more revenue for themselves. So, and again, they don't have us at heart. So they are coming down pretty hard, and it's a bait and switch, good guy, bad guy situation. The Department of Water Resources is quote unquote is charged to assist in resolving the issue of overpumping. Now it doesn't take very long, probably about 20 seconds, because I will tell that here, unless they supply us with surface water, there's no way you can farm without groundwater. And the state has no plan to produce or supply us with more surface water. That water, we lose that water in 2 ways. Number one, they don't harvest the timber. And so when we get snowfall, with the huge amount of trees that are in the forests, those trees sustain the snow in their leaves. And water is one of those elements, maybe the only element, maybe one more, carbon dioxide, but at any rate, water is the only element that will go from a solid form to a vapor without going through the liquid form. Everything else is solid, liquid, evaporates. Water can go directly from a solid and evaporate. So when you go to the freezer and you notice your ice cubes are getting smaller, that's why, because they are evaporating. You know, every time you open the freezer, it reduces the moisture content in the air, so naturally it has to equalize, so the ice evaporates. So what I'm getting to here is that when the snow falls onto the tree, it evaporates off. So we lose millions of acre feet of water during the wintertime through evaporation from the trees. If the tree wasn't there, obviously I'm not saying that we shouldn't have trees or harvest them all. That would be stupid. We are self-governing. We are not stupid. So the fewer the trees to a sustainable point, the more water we would have, because that water, the snow would stack on the ground, and then the surface area for evaporation is obviously very, very minuscule compared to having all this snow on these billions of trees. The surface area, you can understand, is much greater, so you lose these millions of acre feet of water. That's one way. Number two, we let the water go down into the delta. You know, and over the centuries, or I would say century, that we have farmed a lot of land there. The main reason why we do that is for the fish. All right, so historical law, the Organic Management Act of 1897, the act established the Forest Service, and that Forest Service was established for two reasons. Number one was the constant supply of lumber, and as I talked about before, trees. So the state is supposed to harvest those trees to a sustainable point. Makes sense. Are they doing it? No. So does it make any sense to watch it grow and then watch it burn? Doesn't make any sense. It costs us trillions of dollars of economy, and it lowers our level of living standard. So, and naturally, before we had dams on the rivers dried up during the summertime. You could walk across a 3-foot flow of water, maybe 6 inches deep. So these huge flows that go down during the summer are not natural. So the environmentalists can't say that and look you in the eye at the same time, because it's not natural. It only makes sense when all the snow's gone, the water dries up. So, but we need water to flush the delta out, to keep the salt water out, so we farm there. I understand that. But there's technology. In Venice, they use technology. We can put locks, kind of a rolling lock that prevents the salt water from coming in. There's all kinds of things that we engineer type people that have critical thinking can resolve these problems. So by letting all the water down the river, that's the other way we lose water. There's no reason for that. So without supplying surface water, this system, these, what do they call themselves, GMAs or GSAs, groundwater sustainability agency. They're established up and down the state with the different aquifers. Each aquifer in general has an agency, because obviously every area in the state is different. So we want to have local input. The bottom line is that without supplying water, the intent of the state is to take control of the groundwater and your surface water as well. You're already doing that. But the control comes under the way of they cannot own groundwater, because the groundwater is already granted to the farm owner through the land patent, because the United States or the federal government cannot own land. All right, most people don't comprehend that, but they cannot own land. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 says that the federal government can own land for only arsenals, naval yards, forts, magazines, and needful buildings like the federal courthouse. That's the only land they can own. They don't own Yellowstone. They don't own all of the sagebrush land and open land on War. They don't own those. That's because it's managed by the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, right? It's land management. It's not BLO, land ownership. So don't believe them. It's SMU when they tell you that they own the land. They don't. So they can't own the water because it's already granted to we the people in the land. The water goes with the land. They can't take it. But they can control it. And if they can control it, they don't need to own the water rights. They control it through regulation. And so these GMAs, this whole program is set up to fail because they're not supplying any groundwater. So the only way you can, or surface water, the only way you can farm is to pump groundwater, which is now going to be unlawful. So they're going to control you. They're going to shut your pumps down. They're going to allow you to pump so many acre feet and your trees won't grow because they're going to starve, they're going to dry up from drought, et cetera, et cetera. And it's going to damage the economy of the state because land values are going to go way down. It's going to impact your bill at the grocery store because there will be hundreds of thousands of acres that are going to go out of production. Job losses. It's just in general, it's just shooting yourself in the head. Now, can we solve the problem? Yes. As I said, harvest the trees by law. Organic Management Act of 1897. The law says you must harvest the lumber to a sustainable point. We are not doing that. We need to start doing that. That would prevent the forest fires because then you'd have all these lumberjacks up there, as we had, what, 70 years ago. There was bulldozers and men up there working with roads, and there was a fire on it, and most of them drank beer every night. So if there was a fire, they simply had enough beer in them that they'd walk over and piss on it and put it out. So we don't need to spend these hundreds of millions of dollars putting these fires out. They're not millions, billions of dollars, which basically burn up all the trees, burn up all the little animals that run around there. It is counterintuitive. It does exactly what they don't want to do. And then the other thing is, we can go back to natural water flows. We don't need to run all that water down here all summer. There's hundreds of thousands of acre feet of water going down to the river. And again, it's unlawful. Organic Management Act of 1897 says that the water shall be for beneficial use for mining, manufacturing, agriculture, and other beneficial uses. And it goes on to say that the water is not for aesthetics, recreation, or fish. So by forcing us to put the water down there to save the smelt, it's not a smelt, I forget the name of the little fish.
Yeah, smelt. It is a smelt.
Oh,
Delta smelt. Yep.
Okay. Anyway, to save that little fish is not lawful. Now, should we be stupid? No. We can maintain the delta with intelligent, addressing the problem intelligently, not stupidly as we are doing now. But it's not about us, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about them, power. For some reason, human being race has never changed. Somebody always wants to be a power, whether it's a Mao or who's in Cuba?
Oh, Castro.
Castro's in Cuba, right? And all these.
Well, who's in Washington right now?
All these people, they want power, for whatever the reason, right? So we just need to learn our rights. And tomorrow night at the House of Beef, I think it's 201 North 3rd Avenue, North 3rd Avenue in Oakdale. Starting at 5:30 to 7:30, we're going to have a presentation and a discussion. We're going to actually discuss solutions. We're at the GMAs, or GSA meetings. They never discuss solutions. They talk about control, how the DWR, which is the Department of Water, how they're going to help us. And then the Water Control Board is going to put their thumb on you. They're going to put a cap on your well. They're going to let you only pump out so many acre feet, which your crop's going to die. So what's the point? Anyway, so please come. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to have a good time. We're going to solve some issues. Again, my name is David Avila of the ACLG. Thank you.
All right.
This is my right, a right given by God to live a free life, to live in freedom. Talking about freedom, I'm talking about freedom. I will fight for the right to live in freedom. Anyone tries to take it away will have to answer. 'Cause